We are live. Let's see how many people was actually loyal to stick around. Well, Lakers gang came in. That was a long 10 minutes. I was giving y'all extra time. Y'all said y'all wanted a smoke break. So I said, all right, let them get a smoke break in. So, here we go. Screen Fiends. Well, I always promised you this channel will be a lot different than a lot of ones you've seen. You're going to get more information. I was the first person to ever report about John Wick 3. I'll be the first one to do a lot of things on this channel. So now we sit back and we go over things you didn't know. Now from the opening photo that you probably saw in the credits, you're probably like, wow, what is that? Will Smith was supposed to play Neo. A lot of people know this though. He was supposed to play Neo. He had the script, and originally he was going to do it until he started to read it and said, well, the look of it is, and the feel is kind of like, Men in Black. So he's like, nah, that's okay. I'll pass on that. He had a project to do called The Wild Wild West with Tim Burton. It was a big budget movie. And of course he said, can't lose. So I'm going to go ahead and do Wild Wild West. The Matrix would have been the best movie for him. So I am at your disposal. If there's any movie you want to discuss, I'm right here to discuss it. Now, before we left off, we talked about a discussion that you guys didn't know about. Denzel Washington about to beat people up. A lot of people have not known about this. Only a few people. He was very unhappy with not being paid the money that was supposed to be paid to him for service rendered. Maybe I should hold off till a lot of people finally get the notification and then show up. What do y'all think? I mean, text if you're in there. Okay, there you go. Yeah, wait a few minutes. Okay. Wait for max 7. No. How many of y'all saw the movie Unstoppable? With Chris Pine, Rosario Dawson, Denzel Washington. How many of y'all saw that movie? Remember Denzel with the train? Okay. Here's the situation. That movie almost never happened. And the reason why the movie almost never happened because they paid Denzel partial his money. To get him, to do it, he paid his retainer fee and everything else. When it was time to pay Denzel the rest of his money, they didn't have it. They wanted to wait till the movie ended, and then they were going to pay Denzel Washington. And Denzel don't play that. You pay him his money, and that's it. Or there's no film. His fee is $20 million. If you don't got the 20, they paid him 10. They were stalling on his other 10, like, oh, we're going to get it. Don't worry about it. It's going to, you don't play Denzel Washington like that. He's an Academy Award winner. You don't play him that way. He's Denzel. He knows he's selling this movie. They wanted to make Chris Pine the star of this film, but look, it's about Denzel. Denzel is his movie. This is what's going to happen. Now, you paying for his services, come with his money. So Denzel left the set. And when he came back, they were talking like, okay, he's off the set and for a couple of days. They were delayed. It's going to cost them money because they already started shooting with Denzel and he's not going to finish till he get the rest of his money. So they had to take an advance on the film. So that's what made it such a big headache for everybody, is because they wanted to try to shortchange Denzel. And then Denzel did an interview over in the UK. He had a UK reporter come over and he was not in a good mood. And that interview is all over YouTube. And he was mad. And he had to sit there and do that interview. He was ticked off because he was mad about his money. And they trying to play games with his money. So Denzel was getting to the point where if the guys tried to stop him, he was going to fight. Denzel was going to punch that man in the face. And Denzel was, look, man, I came here to do a job. I came to do a job, and then I'm going to my trailer. Now, I'm not trying to stop everybody. They want to make it look like Denzel's the bad guy. You see, they want me to be the angry black man that shuts down production. When we got a contract's supposed to mean something. It don't say you get paid here and there. Man, F that. So Denzel was livid. Now, Tony Scott, who was the director, his job was to try to control them until they got the money and everything else. And it was a big mess up. You know, the whole mishap that happened and the disconnect was the director was told a lie. The producers didn't have a lot of money to do it. That's why they had a bunch of no-name actors in here. And Chris Pine, you know, at the time, you know, these people weren't that big. Eric Malone and the rest of these guys who were co-producers and executive producers, these guys were not the usual when it comes to dealing with this type of situation as far as going to get the money. So they went to the casting director, who was Denise, and they was like, Denise, yeah, Scott did it. But they were like, Denise, look, we got a problem. And Denise was like, well, what's going on? It's like, Denzel is going to leave if we don't have the rest of his money. But it's in the contract, so you got to pay him. So they was like, look, tell him we just don't have the money. And then we're going to pay him. He's going to get a percentage. We're going to get him more money. That's not the point. And people don't understand. He's not going to continue working on the effects. What if this movie bombs? Then he's out of money? No way. You're going to pay him his money. And then he going to do his job. And then that's that. He doesn't have these type of problems. Why is he having this problem now? So they're upset because he doesn't want to play ball. It's not his job to play ball. He didn't come here to play ball. You hired him to do a job. Pay that man. So Denzel didn't get the money until they held him off for a while. They eventually had to pay him. They got a loan. So once they got the loan, everything came out and everybody was okay. Then Denzel went back to work. They spent $100 million budget for this film. $100 million budget. And I think worldwide it did 167 million. I think so. It did 167 million. So the film ended up making the money. It didn't do what they thought it was gonna do. I don't know what they was thinking, but for $100 million budget for Unstoppable with Denzel Washington, they spent $100 million budget with him getting 20 million. They had to go get the loan. It was profitable, but they didn't do where they thought they were gonna do with the film. And they didn't think, Chris Pine was a bankable star. Exactly. You're wondering, like, where did this money come from? But all the explosion scenes and everything else in there. Now, here's another situation involving Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington was involved in another situation with the movie Michael Clayton. That was a Tony Gilroy written. This was his first time directing a film. He wrote Michael Clayton. He wrote Rogue One. He writes all these, the Bourne Identity, Bourne Supremacy, the whole Bourne legacy. He's good with complex writing. That's Tony Gilroy. He's definitely one of the best when it comes to mystery, law, lawyer, all those like the firm type of movies. He's great for that. You need a good story that makes sense. Tony Gilroy's your guy. Denzel Washington is who he wanted to play for Michael Clayton. He wanted Denzel Washington. He wanted Michael Clayton to be a black man. A black lawyer. Now, here was the decision that was made. Denzel had the script. He read the script and said, oh my God, this is really good. This is some of the best stuff I had in a long time. Oh, deja vu. I saw that with a chick in my lap. To tell you the truth, it was confusing and kind of choppy. And it wasn't really that good. But I had a girl in my lap. Couldn't go wrong. Pulled an impossible feat that night. Pulled a chick that nobody thought I could pull. Yep. George Clooney ended up playing Michael Clayton. And I'm going to get to how that happened. Denzel was finna play Michael Clayton. He had the haircut. He had everything. He was all finna do the role. Then he finds out that Tony Gilroy wants to direct. The writer wants to direct. The person that wrote this thing, and he was just like, I don't know, man. This is a first-time director. Like, this is his first time behind the camera. I don't want to have to hold his hand, and I don't want to have to go through this situation. So his agent's telling him, no, you don't turn this down. Denzel, this is it. This is gripping. This is what you want. He was, I don't know if I want to do this with a first-time director. That's just the way I don't know. I'm not feeling too comfortable with doing it like this. So Tony Gilroy is like, man, I want to get him, like, let's get this done. Like, please, let's get him back in here and talk. Let's get Denzel Washington back. They said, well, we got to go with another selection. And the next guy that was kind of okay, they didn't know if they really want to use him, but he was passable, was George Clooney. He was there. He was available for the time, and they said, look, we're going to start running short on time here. Clooney has the script. He loves it. He knows the roles. Let's just film this with George Clooney. That movie became a hit. It got all the rave reviews. And Denzel is like, man, that's one I know I messed up on, and I should have went and did it. I should have went and did that role. And Tony Gilroy, who loves Denzel Washington, wanted Denzel Washington to be in Rogue One. The character Forrest Whitaker played, Saul, he wanted Denzel Washington to play that role. And it ended up going to Forrest Whitaker. Denzel didn't want to do it. So, and the reason why Denzel didn't want to do it is because of the Star Wars obligation. It wasn't about money, it wasn't about that. It's the obligations. There's Star Wars. He's like, I don't want that. Denzel does not want that kind of attention. With Star Wars obligations is whenever there's an event, they pressure you like, hey, come over here to the Comic Con. You're part of the whole family. It's like being in a DC movie. You're adopted to Comic Con now. You're going here. You're going there. Yeah, it's great, but Denzel don't need that. He can make his own film. Most of these people that do these movies, superhero movies, that's because their career is done doing anything else. So these superhero movies are saving them. And Denzel had already done the Pelican Brief back with, another mystery thriller. So he was familiar with his work in the Pelican Brief. That's why Gilroy selected him to be Michael Clayton. Well, mainly the Blade 3 incident put him in a bad predicament. That's what happened, but we'll get into that later with Wesley and Denzel. Now, we'll go through some films that you probably didn't know nothing about at the time. Again, like I told you with Will Smith, there's plenty of others I got. Now, Matt Damon was supposed to play in the role. This was what kills me because Chris Pine ended up playing Captain Kirk. Matt Damon was supposed to play Captain Kirk for the Star Trek situation, but he ended up getting The Martian that they were going to work on, and J.J. Abrams wanted to cast Matt Damon, and he was approached to take the part of Captain Kirk. But he's like, I don't want to be in no friend. Same thing Denzel didn't. Matt Damon don't want those kind of arrangements where he will be, asked to be at Comic Con every time there's a Comic Con event. He don't want to be in something like that. And he was signing up to 3 movies guaranteed. They got to do 3. Everybody signs up for 3 movies who's on that scale. Chris Pine needed this. And he's a very good actor. He was the guy in Smoking Aces. A lot of people didn't realize that. He was one of the trimmers. The one that survived at the end and then got shot by the other guy. So Chris Pine was great. A lot of people didn't know that was him. On Bad Boys 2, did that man daughter die? Oh, did that man daughter and mom die in that explosion? No, I don't know. I've never heard of that. Somebody dying on Bad Boy 2? Never heard of it. Where did you hear that? Only thing I remember is the 2 movie incidents. I remember that people like, well, she didn't die. She got basically her head almost taken off. Was Transformers? Was it the first one or the second one? I think it was the second Transformers they were doing here in Chicago, and there was a scene on there, and they ended up using a scene that they used from his other movie, The Island, to replace that scene because One of the wires had broke and went down, and it ripped through the car and whacked like some of her head off. So she was on life support in a hospital, not the same no more. She was so excited she got to be an extra in the movie, and this wire broke and went cut through the car, and ended up cutting some of her head off. She was partially decapitated. That's why people was like, man, Michael, he used this footage from another movie. He used this scene from another shot of the movie. I'm like, yeah, that was a big action scene where they basically had to scrape it because of the thing. And it happened here in Chicago. I even know the highway it happened on. But that's Michael Bay, the king of explosions and king of stunts. Mike Lowry. Mike Lowry. Fist Fight is a movie if you smoke weed. I don't smoke weed, so the movie wasn't that funny to me. The only time people in the movie theater laughed is when a girl did the Big Sean song, which was completely inappropriate. Only thing about Bad Boys 2 I remember is what's the name? It blew up the beach they was on. They blew up a $40 million mansion in Miami. Blew it to smithereens. They really blew the mansion up, but the mansion was worth $40 million. I don't think nobody died, but that was it. That's the largest explosion and waste of money in a movie in history. And Michael Bay did it because he's Michael Bay and he likes to blow things up. $40 million mansion. Blew it up. Now, the actress Lucy Liu. I know y'all remember Lucy Liu, right? Lucy Liu, Charlie's Angels. Bill Murray was in the film and he was supposed to have been Charlie or M or whatever. And it got to a point where Lucy Liu and Bill Murray got into it. And he was just like, you cannot act. You don't know what you're doing. You're right, yeah, and it was completely left. It went completely left field. So when they were talking about doing the sequel, he wasn't even thinking about doing a sequel. But he almost walked off the set, period. And Bill Murray has so much power in Hollywood. Lucy Liu became a target. She had made him so mad that her career was done. Completely done. She wasn't going to be able to get a cup of water. And they were like, look, I don't know what you've done to Bill Murray to get him this mad at you, but this isn't good. So the person that was supposed to be in the film when he agreed to do the film was Angelina Jolie. Lucy Liu wasn't even there. They end up choosing her because she admitted that she was a fan of the show and she was going to do it, but they said it was too many variables involved. Like she was being too demanding. She wanted the character she wanted to be was she was supposed to play the Lucy Liu character, but she didn't want to play a backseat to Cameron Diaz, and Cameron Diaz was gonna be the star, and that was not gonna go well with her. So Angelina Jolie was out the picture. So when Bill Murray first got the script, and they say, "Well, who's playing this lead, this lead, this lead?" Lucy Liu wasn't on that script because she wasn't. They went to Angelina Jolie, then they went to Jada Pinkett Smith, and both of them end up turning it down because they wanted the character now to be a diverse character once they got Angelina Jolie out of the way. So now she was offered the role for Alex Monday, and they was like, okay, Alex Monday is a character we could use sparingly, but once Jolie stepped out, it was cool. She stepped out, but they thought they would get Jada Pinkett. She left, so now they say, well, let's get another Asian role, an Asian or somebody of ethnicity to play in this role. So now they have Lucy Liu. And Bill Murray just basically told her, if you weren't an Asian or whatever, because you cannot act a bit. That's the only reason you here. Like, I know what she's doing here and I know what Drew's doing here, but I'm still trying to figure out what you doing here. I know what everybody else is doing here, but I don't know what you're doing here. So he just wouldn't let it go. So after they wrapped up filming, he was done. So when they did the sequel, they brought in, what's his name? Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac came and killed. Bernie Mac came and killed that role. Of course, I got that movie with Sean Penn, the original Bad Boys. Yeah, when they was in the prison, there's like a juvie hall. Yeah, yeah, we remember that movie. I had both of them. I mean, as soon as that boy got out and got released, he got killed. He went and did like a robbery and got smoked. I was like, yep, that was juvie. Somebody got out, got hurt. Now, Angela Bassett and Halle Berry. Let's talk about Monsters Ball. Because that's a very important role and very important movie for a lot of different reasons. The Karceno movie, oh, it'd be epic. And it'd be starring me. And I'll be in there with the girls of my life. It start off with a sex scene with me and Ashante. And Ashante be playing some chick I dated back in the day. And then I'm going to have Latoya Wright, to get in there. She going to be playing another chick I dated. It's going to be back-to-back sex scenes. Then Jennifer Lopez will be playing another role. And we going to have another sex scene. They're going to be like, they ain't even showing the credits yet. And he's still having sex. That was just another woman. This movie's stupid. It don't even make sense. I'll be like, why is he looking at the camera? I mean, welcome to the Karceno movie. Then there'll be a fight scene with me and Meek Mill. I start whooping him with a belt. You gonna respect me. No more chasers. Take that off Instagram now. Oh yeah, it'd be a great movie. Now let's go into Monsters Ball. That's right, exactly. He don't love the Scream Fiend channel. Forget him. I had to deal with Ashanti ugly feet. She can go to a foot doctor. We open up the scene right there. We can have that as an opening scene. Now, Angela Bassett for the role of Letitia in Monsters Ball. And when she won Best Actor for the role, they tried to get a whole bunch of African Americans to play this role before it landed on Halle Berry. Halle Berry, they thought she could never. No, we won't get Halle Berry to play this. The first person that was offered this role to was Angela Bassett. Angela Bassett said, "I am not going to be a prostitute on a film." And they were like, "It's not a prostitute. She's a waitress who has an affair. She's going through this." She's like, "I read the script. This woman is basically a prostitute. And film is forever. It's about putting something out there that you could be proud of 10 years later." I mean, Meryl Streep won Oscars without all that stuff. And she stayed. And they were like, okay. That's why you saw Angela Bassett fade away. See, after she did What's Love Got to Do with It with Tina Turner, she was big. And then she ended up, they put her in a film with a white guy to see would that work. Because they wanted to see what she was good, cool with interracial and all this stuff. And once they found out she was down with, like I'll make up with a white girl, guys just acting. And once she was in that movie, Stranger or something. Strange Days, that's what it was, Strange Days. And she was in a lot of action flicks back then. And then she faded off because she didn't want to do this film. And then she was like blacklisted off stuff and doing B-rolls, but she played a lot of Malcolm X. She played in Panther. She was doing a lot of films with black because she didn't sell out when they thought she was going to. She stayed home. And when they wanted her to do that big role that was going to make her a star and give her an Oscar, they screwed her. Now, Halle Berry, who basically built herself up with the African Americans and doing films, all the black people films, when she crossed over to doing other roles, more entertaining towards the whites, when she took this role for Monsters Ball, she wanted to show that she could play this role. And she went into this role from an artistic standpoint. And a lot of people don't know Halle Berry is mixed. She's white and black. So, anyway, she goes in, she gets an Oscar, and people turned on her. Oh, so now Lathan gonna be in my movie too. Me and Tommy gonna fight over her. That's how that's gonna work. I mean, Tommy, you my boy, but so now Lathan, she's staying with me. Now the movie Brokeback Mountain with the two gay cowboys and done by Ange Lee. Ange Lee is a closet Tinkerbell. And because he's a closet Tinkerbell, he is married, but next with you mean the movie with Nicolas Cage, or you mean actually next? Yeah, so Ange Lee is, and a lot of people thought he had a crush on the Star Trek guy, two Asian things. And so anyway, Mark Wahlberg, they gave that script to him. Him and Joaquin Phoenix was supposed to play in Brokeback Mountain. Mark Wahlberg said, I'm creeped out by this script. I'm creeped out by it. And he just like, I'm not doing it. So the producers of the movie got upset with them. Joaquin Phoenix just turned it down. He was like, no, I'm not gonna do it. But man, oh man, was it a big mess. Because this movie was never supposed to go to Heath Ledger or Jake Gyllenhaal. They didn't even think Jake Gyllenhaal, they could get him to do this. About two gay cowboys. It's like, who could get this off the ground? So, you and me both. We both ain't seen that movie. And I watch movies. I refuse to watch this movie. I just have to go to the grave without seeing it. Now, this movie cost $14 million to make. It's a film about two gay cowboys. It made $83 million in revenue. Only great movie, Dante. Yes, you have lost your mind. What bad movie did Quentin Tarantino put out? Every movie he's put out has been genius. Pope's a classic, but what about Jackie Brown? Jackie Brown is probably neck and neck. Quentin Tarantino, his talent is writing dialogue. He can write dialogue so perfect. You would think that this is the character. You would think that all of these lines that Samuel Jackson is saying is coming from Samuel Jackson. That's coming from Quentin Tarantino. Man, the style. Oh, man, that's a bad mother. Quentin Tarantino was raised by blacks. You know that? He was raised with black folks. He grew up in a house where it was pimps. Where in the hotel they stayed at, it was all pimps. Pimp stayed in there. He was running holes in and out the house. That's how he's able to write all this stuff. He's seen it. He write it because that's just how he writes. When he writes for the character, that's what he used to hear all the time. There was always the racist guy. He writes for character. He's not like, I need them to say the N-word right here. He's writing for that character. If that character said, because that character grew up in a racist environment, that's what he's doing for that character. It ain't like, it's Quentin thing, like, man, I ain't said nigga in this movie yet. We got to say the word nigga. Nigga, 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 and nigga. There you go. He writes for character. Exactly. I was just gonna say that, Leggington. Now, don't jimmy me, Jules. When you came in here, did you see a sign outside that said dead nigga storage? Why? Because dead niggas isn't my business. Isn't it, Jules? And meanwhile, because of that, what you just talked about, because Spike Lee loves to stir up controversy whenever he got a film coming out or some project, he uses that as promotion for his films. And Samuel Jackson and Spike Lee were best friends. Best friends. Wives know each other and hang out and everything. Spike put him in his movies. He was like in all Spike movies. And They had a big falling out over the whole controversy because Samuel Jackson came up and took up for Quentin Tarantino. And Spike started hating on Quentin Tarantino, which ticked Sam off. It's like, dog, this is my movie, and you hating on us. You sabotaging my movie. You supposed to be my brother. You know Quentin ain't like that. But Spike just used that to promote his stuff. So now they won't talk to each other. So the wives went out, and the wives was like, look, we going out. Because we friends, and y'all just going to have to get there and get along. So the wives are sitting there talking, they going on, and then Spike Lee and Sam just sitting across from each other, looking at each other. Tight. Nah, they back tight now because that whole dinner thing, and the wives is like, look, y'all finna work this out. I don't care. Y'all ain't finna be fighting. I ain't finna miss out on my friends and all this talking and going to dinner. So, wives get involved. You got to sleep next to them. So they word gonna mean something. Yeah, they're in a commercial now. This was back then. Yeah, they patched things up, and that was the first time for a while because of what happened. They weren't speaking to each other. Now, he forgave him for the other incident that happened. You see, Samuel Jackson also read for Malcolm X. Spike already had casted Denzel. He's like, I'm making a Malcolm X movie, and yes, Denzel will be Malcolm. And they were like, no, there should be a reading for that. That how he just automatically get that role. That's not even right. So they went ahead and did a okay, we're gonna do a read and have people come read out and audition to make it like legal. Samuel Jackson played Malcolm X. Came in there, destroyed Denzel Washington. He gave the speech that Malcolm gave at the mosque for the Nation of Islam. He was like, it's like the water in that pot, in that kettle, the way it's boiling. Samuel Jackson gave that speech. He had everybody in there like froze. Everybody was like, oh my God, we got to talk to Spike. Spike, we got to talk to Spike. The producers was like, I know you want Denzel and everybody gonna want to see Denzel. Did you see that? That was Malcolm. That was Malcolm X. And as good as Denzel played the role, he didn't have the intensity and the extreme focus on it like Samuel Jackson delivered it. We know what Sam could do now because Sam was in other movies. So imagine Sam as Malcolm X delivering those roles. You see, the thing is, Denzel, you're right. Sam's a little too dark to play Malcolm. But Denzel he did a great Malcolm. But the thing about the range of Denzel could switch and play different positions, different characters, where I think Samuel Jackson, he's tried in a couple of them, but he didn't quite nail those performances. Like he could play, it's like he plays a certain character and you're okay with him playing that character in every movie. It's like they're playing themselves. You want Sam to be Sam. You want Sam to do that walk. The Samuel Jackson walk. Now look at here. Now that's the last time I'm gonna tell you. The next time I'm gonna blow your brains out. Enough is enough. I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. I'm about to open some windows. Now, that movie was beyond the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life. Snakes on a plane had to be one of the dumbest ideas ever. His worst movie? One of them. It's one of them. But The Man is up there too. Yeah, whoever wrote the movie to be like, we just want Samuel Jackson. Just say something Sam would say. They just wrote the role for Samuel Jackson. Soul Man was good. I like Soul Man, but The Man, oh, that was terrible. This was American Pie was blowing up, so everybody liked the American Pie dad. So they was like, well, let's put the American Pie dad in a movie with Samuel Jackson. That'll be funny. No. It wasn't funny. It was bad. Coach Carter is probably one of his best movies because it dealt with a real story, real subject. But see, he comes from theater. Just like Denzel, they all come from theater. And everybody has their process. Samuel Jackson's process is he likes to give his characters background. A lot of actors do that. They give their character a background. Some type of story so that they can build from. As you know, Samuel Jackson was supposed to play. He was supposed to play Sho'nuff in the reboot of The Last Dragon. Nick Cannon was supposed to produce this film. Nick was going to be in the film. And first they were going to make it a sequel. Then they went to, well, let's just do a reboot. And Timac, who's still the Last Dragon, was going to be in the film. Samuel Jackson was Sho'nuff. And Timac wanted to still play his character. But then the producer said, well, we kind of don't want to redo it with the same actors. They're too old. We need to have a young appeal to get a younger audience. So they said Samuel Jackson will be Sho'nuff. You could still be Bruce Leroy. And this will be Little Leroy, Nick Cannon. So Nick Cannon was going to be the son. And Sho'nuff was going to have a son. And then they were going to compete, father and son. And then it'll be another battle with Sho'nuff and Bruce Leroy. And in case you didn't know, Timac is still in shape. He's like 50 years old and he's still cut up, martial arts, everything. See, there's a lot of movie secrets you didn't know. Oh yeah, there's a new development. They're still talking about it. It's supposed to be quiet and a secret, but I'm going to let y'all in on it. See, Thor, the new Thor movie, that is The new Thor movie is what that is. It's like a prequel. Not a prequel, but wait a minute. Where y'all at? Okay, there we go. Well, the first movie, the plot wasn't that great either. Now that you're older, you know, a record producer still in the studio and hiring a bunch of thugs to beat up a martial artist because he couldn't get a girl put in the video, and he got all this money. He could have just paid for her video to be somewhere else. If you look at the plot of the first movie, you know you weren't there for the plot. Plot wasn't great. I can't teach you no more. There's a power deep inside you, an inner strength you find in time of need. The glow. You are the last dragon. I can't get my leg up no more. You can test the power of the glow. Yeah, nigga, please. Hold on 1 minute. I ain't hear you wash your hands. Side Outside says this school here is for instructions in the martial arts. So we thought we might get some lessons. Come on, Leroy. Teach me something. Yeah, that's right. Bow, sucker. Yeah. Cooley, kiss my Converse. Now, y'all remember this guy from X-Men First Class? That's Lucas Till. Why are you seeing his face? Because you better get used to it. Because that is going to be your new Flash Gordon. Flash. Oh. He saved every one of us. Flash. That's why they're seeing what Thor Ragnarok does, because as you can tell, Thor Ragnarok or Thor Ragnarok, or whatever you want to call it, the new Thor film, is filmed in remembrance of Flash Gordon. Yeah, Ragnarok. Fraggle Rock, whatever. A rag of Fraggle Rocks. Now, this guy, you probably seen him. He plays MacGyver. He played in X-Men First Class. He played Havoc. His brother is Cyclops. He played, no, that wasn't him. He played in that new movie called Monster Trucks. Now, what do you think of him being Flash Gordon? And are you ready for a Flash Gordon reboot? This is actually a younger picture of him. He's much more older now. That was a younger picture of him. So that wasn't really fair to show you. This is him and MacGyver now. So now he's going to be Flash Gordon. They're trying to see how people react to the Thor 3, the last Thor, Fraggle Rock, whatever. That one is shot exactly like they're going to shoot Flash. They want to see how people react to it and how they like it. Don't you see it shot like an 80s video game? With all the techno colors? Like a rock and roll video? With the song Hammer of the Gods playing? Well, Godzilla's gonna fight King Kong. And then they're gonna get all the other monsters in there. If you saw King Kong at the end credits, if you watch when the credits go off, you see it. Oh no, that was just to build things up. You see, you got to remember, they went back to tell the story about Godzilla. About King Kong. The King Kong story takes place in the 60s, like during Vietnam, during that time. The Godzilla film was like current time. Well, they've been trying to remake it. When they remake movies, they trying to get a budget for it. And all these things. Samuel L. Jackson was in line. Then people pull out. And then the movies end up becoming nothing. Now that they got a Flash Gordon that they want to put in place to play Flash. You know, I'm with this guy playing Flash. I don't know how good he's gonna be, but how great was the movie Flash Gordon? We just liked it because it was exciting at its time. But I watched Flash Gordon the other day. I was cracking up at how absurd it was. I'm Flash Gordon, quarterback, New York Jets. A quarterback for the New York Jets is out there fighting for the galaxy. Throwing a ball that looked like a football, knocking people in the chest with him and knocking them down. If you watch that now, you would crack up laughing at how stupid it is. But it was entertaining. Oh, they set it up like a promotion. It was written. Star Trek: The Quest for More Money. The person that was going to play Ming the Merciless. Hold on. I was checking on something else. This doesn't make any sense. Did I watch Twilight? Yeah, I watched Twilight. I was stuck for the whole ride, but yeah, I ended up watching it. Baywatch wasn't that great, but it was watchable. Oh yeah, the Queen did kill that soundtrack. You ain't lying there, Charles Rayford. Yeah, I seen War Dogs. That's based on a true story about two idiots who messed up one of the biggest deals in the world. Oh yeah, they weren't. They was getting that paper, and then they blew it all. That's what happened when you push it to the limit too much and get stupid. Yeah, they're gonna do the last movie, the last Friday. It's been coming out since 2012. Detroit is powerful. Trust me. Do not go see this movie with white people. You're gonna turn around and punch somebody white in the face. The Bates Motel. Mm. That's a pretty good show. 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 Feedback. The Bristol Hotel. Where that at? Jamaica, Queens. What's my favorite mind-bending flick? Oh, The Curve is good. I didn't see that coming in The Curve. That's a tough one. A lot of people like the Sixth Sense and stuff like that. Man, that is a tough question, buddy. There's a lot. Memento, that is a good one. It's another film just like it though. But Memento was good. Seven, that was cool. And that's funny because Brad Pitt wasn't supposed to play that role. Somebody else is supposed to play that role. And he got that one by accident. What's in the box? Come on, man. What's in the box? Vacancy was good. What's in the box? Come on, man. What's in the box? Yeah, they just gonna keep making movies. I told you they gonna pop out about 3, 4 Tupac movies. Now they gonna do Me Against the World movie. Then what's gonna be next? Apocalypse Now, Tupac? What's happening? Tupac, Machiavelli, the movie. One of the top mind-bending movies ever. Some will say Inception. I like Inception. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people like Vanilla Sky. I like The Machinist. Okay, The Machinist is good. Source Code. Source Code is one of my favorites. Moon. Moon is a great movie. Now, you have to be completely on LSD to understand the internal sunshine of the spotless mind. Requiem for a Dream. You have to understand that one. Old Boy. That's a crazy ending. A Beautiful Mind. It's a lot of them. Tons. Like I told you, The Curve is one of mine. Gone Girl. Gone Girl was pretty good. I'm not a big V for Vendetta fan. Or a Barton Fink. I'm not a real Barton Fink gang. Totoro was the star. I mean, he made that. Everybody think The Matrix is the best flick for like the top mind-bending movie. That and Vanilla Sky. I could spit on this list. Memento at number 3 is good. Vanilla Sky. Donnie Darko. That's another one. Donnie Darko. That was just crazy. See, that's just too much to figure out. Dark City is the same thing as The Matrix. Dark City came out first. Go watch Dark City. If you haven't seen it, it came out in 98. Let me tell you what Dark City, here's the description of it. A man struggles with memories of his past, including a wife he cannot remember and a nightmarish world with no sun. Watch Dark City and look at the visuals, everything. Oh, I love The Big Short. I've seen that movie like 1,000 times at the movie. Ah, The Sunset Limited. Yeah, that was something else. That's a good acting movie. It's just two people in the movie, Samuel L. Jackson and Tommy Lee Jones, and they sit in an apartment and they just talk to each other. That's the entire movie. One friend is trying to keep another friend from killing himself. Well, that one, they got Fight Club up there and Cloud Atlas. Cloud Atlas, I'm still trying to figure out what happened. And then I don't care. The Snowpiercer. Yes! Snowpiercer, baby. That's a movie. They put Lucy on this list. Somebody need to be shot and drug outside. You got Lucy over The Machinist. Who made this list? Let me get away from these people. I can't deal with stupidity. Exactly. Where's Saw? The original Saw. The original Saw should be on this list. But the original Saw is the one that made everything tick. That original Saw, when I'm like, see, that's the thing. I go to the movies. I actually see these events. So when I go in there and I'm like, I see this stuff, I go for these reactions. So I can see what actually happens when it takes place. Like, I know when people go, oh, the whole audience reaction, I was there. When that man when Jigsaw got up off the floor, the entire audience, the people in the crowd was in terror. It was complete terror. Dun-dun, dun-dun. And he got up, everybody was, oh my God! He was alive the whole time. Freaked the whole audience out. Freaked the whole audience out. And let's not forget the first Ring. The first Ring that ever came out, The Ring. When The Ring came out and that girl came out that TV. At that point, everybody in that whole movie theater was, oh, the bitch came through the TV. No, dog. I ain't talking about Rings with the S. I'm talking about The Ring, the very first one. Period. You had dudes balled up. Damn! Make it stop! Because they never thought she was coming through the screen. See, that was the good part about the movie. You never really saw what she did until the end. When you saw her come through that TV, when you thought everything was all good, and she came through that TV screen, oh, it wasn't all good. She came through that TV like, they were not prepared for that. Great, impactful moment right there. Rings had a lot of opportunity, and they screwed it up. We were like, oh, okay, we know what we finna get now, because, oh, she digital. We in a whole new digital age. We way past the videotape. Now she could be on YouTube. She could be streaming. She gonna be gone for a long time. They took that and didn't do anything with that material. I'm like, y'all had a chance to make that movie and screwed that up. Y'all still with VHS tapes. Who got a VHS player? This dude finds a VHS player, hook it up, and it's got the tape in it. Like, who does that? I went to a novelty shop and got a VHS. There was a tape in there, and I played it, and then this was on it. Oh, The Grudge. I remember that film. Oh, Tony, come on. Now you know me. Killer clowns from outer space. Suckers. Die Hard 3. Did you know Die Hard 3 was not supposed to be Die Hard 3? That was supposed to be Lethal Weapon 3. How many people know that? Oh, no. Lethal Weapon 4 was terrible. Lethal Weapon 4 was garbage. No. Lethal Weapon, no, that was the script for Lethal Weapon 3. Die Hard bought the script. They bought it and used it for Die Hard. That's how Samuel Jackson ended up being in the film. That script was meant for Lethal Weapon 3. And Lethal Weapon, they turned it down. And Lethal Weapon 3, that was a buddy cop. The script was made for Riggs and Murtaugh was going to be running around town. This guy got them going through the city. So that script ended up going to Die Hard. They bought the script and wrote it in to where he got to go pick up Samuel Jackson and bring him along. And they going on these things together. That's why it's Buddy Cop. Part 3 of Die Hard. And the funny thing about it is the Lethal Weapon script that they got after that ended up being the biggest movie of all. Lethal Weapon 3 stayed in the movie theaters like the entire summer for like the whole month. Lethal Weapon 3, the one with Travers, then the construction guy, the former cop, that one stayed in there. Everybody went to see Lethal Weapon 3 for Joe Pesci. Okay. They F you in the drive-thru, okay? Don't think you're going to get your food. Because you're not. They F you in the driveway, okay? He was so good in the second one, they kept bringing him back. Leo gets. Whatever Leo want, Leo gets. Man, I didn't know it was this late, man. It's time for me to lay it down. I'm gonna go to bed, man. I'll see y'all tomorrow, and we'll have some more videos and everything for you. Thanks for subscribing. Don't forget, click the notification buttons so you can get notified when we drop new videos. All right, I'm out.